Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's the one and only the Met Character, and here guys today, bringing you some actual Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon news and information after 2 months. Game Freak decided finally to let us in and drop a few things. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water. Finally, Game Freak finally decided to drop by, let us in on what's going on, and they gave us a trailer. And I'm not personally going over the trailer because there was next to nothing new within the trailer. It's just there wasn't. I was originally just going to be going through the whole the website because the website has finally updated with information. That's what I was going to use for all of this. However, I can't go through the website because for some odd reason OBS crashes every time I try to have the website and it open at the same time. So I just screen capped a bunch of stuff from the website that I thought was important to talk about. And that's pretty much what we're going to be going over. But first things first, obviously we have a bunch of tabs on your screen. And then also we have this thing in the middle of your screen. My cursor's not on so you can't see it. But there's obviously the white thing in the middle of the screen that appears to have eyes. And it looks like a star almost, but we'll get to that later. Our first image actually is when we click on the Pokemon tab, and this is something pretty much just for discussion, this first thing, but the first thing I noticed when I went to the Pokemon tab, it talked about the fused form of Solgaleo Necrozma, didn't really give a lot of detail, but I noticed this. It says Pokemon, but then it's just a picture of Duskform, Lycanroc. Now, me personally, if I was a web developer of some kind, I wouldn't make an entire tab just for a single Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like, why would you make why not just make Lycanroc its own page at that point? So I believe this does hint, or maybe not hint, but this tells us that there are going to be at least new forms of Pokemon. Because as you can clearly see, the Solgaleo fuse and the Lunala fuse aren't here. It's just Lycanroc. So I feel like there are going to be new forms of Pokemon, or possibly, I don't think there's going to be any new Pokemon, like actual new Pokemon, but possibly few Ultra Beasts, but outside of that, I think it's just going to be new forms, which is something to look forward to, don't get me wrong, but that's all said and done. Next thing I went to click on was actually the Alola region tab, and this is a map that they showed us in the trailer, but this gives you like a nice standstill version to look at it. And as the description says, ominous dark clouds are spreading in the sky above the Alola region, the setting of the Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. New buildings and landscapes appear that were not previously seen in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Now, the only place that really has the dark clouds is right here on Pony Island, which is interesting because it's hovering over all of Pony except for the docks. So, the docks is fine, Executor Island is fine, but everything that's over here, like the entire main island, is covered, which is kind of interesting, including the temple right over here. But as it did say, there are new buildings and such around the map. Like, for example, if you look right here, I know it's really hard to tell. There's a very clear shot of it in the trailer when somebody's walking through. I don't even remember the name of this first town. It's like the biggest city in the region. My mouse, it's on Melee. I don't remember the name of it. But as you see right there, there's the red building right next where that empty lot was with the 3 dudes, with the guy and the 3 Machamps. And I believe there was also a bunch of other empty areas. Like there was one over on the second island, but I can't remember where to find it. Wait, why can I not find this? Where is this last? Actually, wait. Oh, yeah, it's down here. Like, there's clearly... it's in the city where Olivia lives. I unfortunately don't remember the name of the city. But it's very hard to make out on this map, but you can see there's, like, a brown building right there where the I know I'm saying right there because my mouse is hovering over it, but you guys probably would have to look at it very closely. But yeah, there's a little brown building where the empty lot was with building supplies. Over here on Ula, I don't remember where there was an empty lot. I believe it was I don't even recall there be. I believe there was a total of like 8 empty lots around the region, so people thought it would be gyms. Um, but I don't know. It looks as we haven't had any confirmations on gyms, and the building itself that you can see in the trailer. I wish I had screen capped that, but I didn't. It could be like a new style of gym, but at the same time, it just kind of looks like a shop of sorts. So I don't really know what the point of it is. Um, but looking around the map, there's not really a lot to notice, except for the fact that this island is here. I believe this is supposed to be Pokepelago. I don't remember if it was there on the original map. I don't believe it was because everyone said that the cloud. I remember looking at it and the clouds covered this entire horizon so you couldn't see anything. But now we have this small little island out here. I should probably say where it is. It's between. It's next to. What's the second island even called? It's Mele Mele. And then the one to the far left is Pony, Ula Ula. I don't even remember the name. Akala. In between, like, if you go to the right of Akala Island, you can clearly see there's a small little island with a palm tree on it. That's probably Pokepelago, but that could be something. You never want to count anything out. Obviously, the boats we now know are drifting to the docks. Aether Paradise is still here. I believe it is the same exact size as before. If not, it has just grown upwards. But the most interesting thing to know is that this dark cloud is spreading over, Pony Island. Nobody knows why or anything like that. So, unfortunately, the trailer did not give us a lot. I wish the trailer had given us this information instead of it being on the website, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's the map. You can obviously go, and remember, the Pokemon website is always there for anybody, so just go look into it. You want it yourself if you want to see all the small details and stuff like that. I try to make it as clear as possible here. But a very interesting screen cap, which is hard to see it, I know, but bear with me. Necrozma's new tail. I believe this was also under the, it was either under Pokemon or it was under the Alola region tab. But Necrozma's new tail. In Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, a story unfolds on a grand scale with the legendary Pokemon Solgaleo, Lunala, and Necrozma at its center, so it officially recognizes this as a legendary Pokemon. Secrets about Necrozma and the Alola region undisclosed in the previous games will come to light. And then obviously we have the screen cap of our protagonist trainer with Necrozma at the Temple of the Sun, which, if we go back to the last image, is right here. So, Necrozma, which originally you could catch on Mele Mele Island, 10 Carat Hill, nobody knows why, is now here. I don't know if you brought it there or if it brought itself there, but it's interesting. And I think just the most important thing about this is we do actually have the screen cap of our trainer at the Temple of the Sun with Necrozma. Next up, new Z moves. Now this is not so much story oriented, but I think this is pretty cool. New Z moves in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. The main character wears a Z ring in order to use Z moves. In Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, the main character will put on a Z Power Ring, which can use even more varieties of Z moves than the Z ring. And the game also features new Z moves for certain Pokemon. Now, that is interesting to me. Because it clearly, I just knocked my phone to the ground. That's great. It clearly says, that I think the thing to focus on first is the last sentence, where the game will also feature new Z moves for certain Pokemon. So I believe we did not get that many signature Z moves the first time around. We had, Snorlax, Pikachu, Raichu, all 3 starters, Mew, and I believe there's 1 or 2 more that I'm forgetting. But it looks like they're doing a Mega Evolution kind of deal with it, where some Pokemon get it the first time around, then since they're adding in these secondary games that are still part of the generation, they're giving new Z moves, which I think is pretty cool. But those are signature Z moves, obviously. But now it says, instead of a Z ring, it's a Z Power Ring, which can use even more varieties of Z move than the Z ring. So Not counting just these new signature Z moves, there's going to be new varieties of Z. Now, each type did get a Z move, so I don't know if this means that there's going to be 2 Z moves for each type now, or if like certain types are going to get a second Z move or what have you with that. But that's definitely something that we should look out for, because it specifically says that it's for Z moves. So all those theories about Z stats or Z what have you, it's all incorrect. It clearly says that it's for Z moves. The question is, what kind of Z moves are we going to get? Are we going to get a physical and special of each one, or are we changing it up? The Japanese trailer, which I wish I could show, but YouTube would immediately shut that down. Well, not YouTube, but the Pokemon Company. If you have the time, go look it up and watch it. There was actually, I believe it was I don't remember, because they showed Bloom Doom, the Fire Z move, and then they also showed Pikachu. However, they also showed Beware and Palosand, and they were using Z moves, but they also had a white text at the bottom of the Z move, and just instead of the regular single Z move. I don't read Japanese, so I don't know if it said anything, but that's just interesting to me, because it's like, are those potentially some signature? Are those what it's talking about? Or are those just signature Z moves? Or is it just I'm bad at Japanese and it translates the same way? Could be any of those options. But Z moves is something to look out for. And then last thing to talk about, I believe, from all the news we got today, is this thing right here, which is as zoomed in as I could get it. And it's very, very interesting to me, because it's a star. It is, if you cannot tell that it is a star, then you're blind. No offense. And I believe the Pokedex did say that Necrozma, the beams reflect off it as though it was a star, or it says something along the lines of it relating to stars, which is interesting to me, because, oh my goodness, because what if this is Necrozma? What if after this fusion they go into their super phase, and once they unfuse, Necrozma realizes its full potential and becomes this supernova star, or not supernova, but this, I believe it's called a white giant star. I don't quite recall the name of it, but it clearly has eyes, even if it is not Necrozma, but one is blue and then one is red. So there's definitely something going on. This is possibly another new Pokemon. Or this could just be some really cool art that they threw in the middle in between. Because if we go back to this image, hold on. If we go back to this image, they just threw it in between Solgaleo and Lunala, but obviously the light is refracting. So what is this? I think that is probably the main question that anybody has from the trailer and the website today, because everything else is pretty much explained by the website or the trailer, except for this thing right here. What is this? Is it a Pokemon? Is it an Ultra Beast? Nobody knows. So hopefully you guys found this video informative. If you did, make sure to share with a friend. That way we can spread all the news to everybody. Make sure to check out the Pokemon website for yourself, to make sure that in case you wanted to poke around and see anything that I missed. But if you did go on and enjoy, make sure that like button down below. Comment on what you think about all this news. And of course, if you are new here, subscribe to stay up to date with all the Ultra Sun and Moon information. But without further ado, this is going to be the Meg Character signing out.